Well, I started as a kid building airplanes with my dad, who was a war veteran, and it sort of evolved from there. I got more into cars as I got to be in a teenager. And then I gave up the hobby for about 20 years when I got married and had kids, and my time was sort of limited, and got back into it about 10 years ago. And it's just sort of been taken off from there. As an engineer that never actually built anything, because I've built software, I think this brings out the engineering in me as I want to build something, and this is a nice, cost-effective way of building motorcycles, is doing that kind of engineering and figuring out how to fit it together. The thing with working on a big bike, if you slip, you wrap your knuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you slip working on a model, you might just cut your finger with a knife. I like to get a little bit more creative in taking parts from different motorcycles and putting them together to get something unique. You know, that bike kit never ran with those wheels, but the wheels I can get from another kit, or take the body work from something and move it to something else. So that's sort of kit bashing, and then you can go further into going into strictly scratch building, which is taking raw materials and building up something from scratch, if you will. When you go to enough of these events, you know essentially who the guys you're going to be competing against in your category a lot of times.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to beat that guy to get first place in that category. So
Yeah.
you get to know them, and then you meet guys from other clubs, and sort of there's a camaraderie that goes along, and guys sharing tips and that sort of thing. A lot of the bikes I build are bikes I've seen at the Toronto Super Show, motorcycle Super Show, that I say, well, they make a kit pretty close to that motorcycle. I could do this and do this and this, and then next year have it there, and the guy will come along and just be flabbergasted that I built a model of his motorcycle. So this one was at the motorcycle show a few years back, and the story with this one is there was a young lady, about 17 years old, and her father, and they both rode Honda Cubs from, I think they're in the Toronto area, to the East Coast. Because the story with this bike was, this bike started in Vancouver. Somebody rode it all the way across Canada.
Wow.
Sold it to this guy in Toronto, who then restored it. And then he and his daughter rode Honda Cubs to finish the bike's trip all the way across Canada. And she did it as a fundraiser for a charity. So, and it was decked out, a little bit, some funky decals on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they had just released a kit of this model, and I thought, well, this will be fantastic if I'll get it done and have it at the show the following year,
Sure.
which I did. And I have a picture of the young lady with the bike, and her father was just tickled pink that I'd done the bike, and
I bet.
just the way it was at the show. So this was a pretty simple build. That was probably about 30 hours maybe. I can hardly wait to retire, quite frankly, so I can spend more time building. I'm just, I don't have enough time now working full time
Yeah.
to devote to the hobby that I'd like to. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you got passion about bikes, then why not pick up a bike kit and see what it does for you. Someone once asked me, what's your favorite model and what's your best model? And I said, my best model that I've ever built is the next one.